Hey guys, gonna be doing a knife review today. It's gonna be on my Emerson SOCFK. So bringing you guys down here, as you guys see, we got kind of a tactical theme going on because Emerson are known for being tactical folders. And the Emerson SOCFK, that is obviously an acronym, stands for Special Operations Combat Folding Knife. And basically the SOCFK here, the Emerson SOCFK, is a hybrid of the CQC7 blade. Oops, there goes light. And the Emerson SOCFK handle. So obviously we have here some other knives. For a reference, let's see here, we have the Spyderco Tenacious, which I got in here just because it's got some really long cutting edge and it's extremely sharp and comfortable and can do some damage. Now of course we have the Spyderco Police, which is on the chopping block right now in blade forms, but I do like this knife. Just it's not going to get carried over my military. Of course, we got here the military, just so darn light. 4-inch full flat grind, super pointy point, big ergonomic handle, and of course, spec war here. The spec war, Emerson SOCFK. So going on specs over this knife here. Handle length, we're looking at 5 inches. Blade length, we're looking at 3.4 inches. Overall length, I don't know how they do the math, but it's 8.75 inches. And the thickness of the blade, 0.125. So this is a rather thick blade, as you see there. It goes all the way down to the tip until it hits that tonto. And the weight on this is a whopping 5.53 ounces. So this is a pretty hefty knife. But definitely solid. I'll get to that. So just a quick comparison with the other knives here. You can kind of see versus the Tenacious. Let me get that in frame. Blade wise, Tenacious has got some more blade length on it. Next to the Police. Police is obviously quite a bit longer. Much more blade length on that. And of course, next to the military is going to shrink the Emerson as well. So for a tactical knife, the blade is kind of short in comparison to that in the Police and the military, and even a little bit on the Tenacious there. But definitely a stout folder. This is obviously it has the black finish. It also comes in satin finish. This particular grind, Emerson calls the B blade, which means chisel ground and tonto. Chisel means that the full back of the blade is flat, and as you see here on the front, there's only grindings on the front here, kind of a half saber grind, chisel grind, tonto, and then you got the main straight edge there. But anyways, it is 154 cm steel, as you see here. It's got Emerson written there. I know it's not going to focus very well, but it does say SOCFKB Made in USA 2008. It does feature the wave feature, which I love about the knife because it deploys right out of the pocket. You guys saw the video on that. It features the thumb disc. As you can see, also it has some nice little threads kind of around the disc. So I was pleased with the thumb disc. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not. It's like very easy to open and close with that, and I can sometimes flick it out with a little bit of wrist action with the thumb disc. As far as the handle material goes, it is black G10. It is extremely grippy. You don't want to wear this knife in dress pants, and it even rips up your jeans. So very aggressive. It is set up for only right hand carry, tip up because of the wave feature, or else it'd be a waste. And unfortunately, lefties cannot use this straight from the factory, and uses upside of the Emerson folders that they use Phillips screws, and they use a big fat flat head for the pivot. Let's see, what's also different with this knife is the jimping kind of is on the handle, on the top of the handle here. As you see, it really sweeps up, and that's where your thumb goes. And so there's jimping on the blade and also on the handle and the liners there. So as you see, as it closes, you can see the blade coming all the way up from the top there, and even sticking out the top. So as it locks into place, all the jimping is aligned here, and that's where your thumb rests. The liner lock on this thing has some wicked jimping. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like sharp, like shark teeth. It is very, 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 very sharp and very jagged, and it is rough on your thumb. One of the biggest cons of Emerson knives is when you first buy the darn knives, you can see my thumb's already eaten up just opening and closing it here on camera, is the fact that their liners are so darn sticky. They use a titanium locking side. I don't know if both liners are titanium, but I know the locking liner is titanium. And you'll also notice that it is indeed thicker than that of the opposing scale here. Opposing is thinner than that of the locking side. But because of titanium being a like sticky steel metal, it'll stick to the tang or the back of the blade here, creating, I have to kind of click it. It's way better now than when I first got it, but even still it sticks a little bit, but definitely better than when I first got it. You just got to use the heck out of it. Just wave the hell out of it and open and close it all day long. Handle, very ergonomic. It's got a very fat swell here. It's got jimping right here that feels nice, so really good for reverse grips, choking down or moving all the way up. Like I said, the ramp jimping here is pretty decent. It's not really, I don't know, it doesn't really grab my thumb that well, but it feels good because of that ramping effect. What else we got here? Basically, this is not my first go-to for an EDC knife. That Tonto style blade and also matched with a chisel grind it's not ideal for slicing. And my usual everyday cutting task of just ripping through cardboard boxes and zip ties and plastics and food prep. This isn't the best grind for that. So this is really solely kind of a tactical blade for me, more for like self-defense and maybe scaring someone off if I have to, more so than actual EDC use. I mean, it does cut, but it's not the best cutter. And also, too, another thing that brings to mind of Emerson is, for whatever reason, Ernest Emerson, he decided to be different and swap the way that the Tonto grind, or the way the grind is on the chisel. So, I mean, the majority of knife users, or the general public, are right-handed. Forgive me, lefties, but you'll see here that the flat side is facing up. I'm right-handed, so if I do a natural cut, I'm going to be cutting this way, and I have the flat side here. But typically, you want the opposite. You want the ground part to be facing up. So as you're cutting through material will be lifting up and off the blade as you're cutting through. But because of the way he switched that around, righties don't get that advantage anymore. They just got the flat side here with the, chisel ground underneath. So doing my natural cuts, it doesn't cut as well as if I were to cut left ways. So pro for you lefties and kind of con for the righties. And over on Blade Forums, this has been discussed extensively, and basically he just chose to do that. No benefit, no really reason other than this. He wanted to be different and swap it around from what I've heard. So I mean, that's kind of a con. Another con, like I said, is the sticky lock bar, the overly sharp jimping. The weight of the knife is fairly hefty, but I don't really feel it. I don't know why, but I mean, I just like the feeling of the sturdiness of the knife overall, so maybe that adds to it. I haven't had much trouble yet with the screws on the knife, but a lot of people do say that the screws tend to loosen up, the pivot tends to loosen up, and you're going to have to Loctite it. Also the fact that the G10 is almost too grippy and it's just going to shred clothing. So those are pretty much the cons. The fact that it's only tip up, right hand carry only. Pros would be that it's super ergonomic. It's extremely beefy. I mean, the blade is thick. I'm not scared to punch this through anything. Like I'd run this through a car door and feel confident about it. Another pros is that the locking liner is thicker than that of the other side, but not that big of a deal. Pros, thumb disc is easy to use. Wave feature works very well. It's comfortable in all grips, reverse and normal. Let's see, the fact that it's only, it's chisel ground, it's supposed to be easier to touch up. I haven't yet, but the fact that it only has a grind on one side, it's supposed to be easier to touch up when sharpening. Haven't gotten to that yet though. It does have a lanyard hole if you'd like to use that. does have a semi backspacer that takes up about 50% of the handle. The fact that the blade goes in so deep, as you guys can see there, I mean the blade's really deep in there, so as far as play, which there is actually a little bit side to side, which means I probably need to tighten the pivot, but you know, I wouldn't be worried about doing some light prying with this. So that's pretty much all my opinions and thought on the SOCFK. I mean, there's a lot of cons and there's a lot of pros. I mean, for me, intended use would be self-defense, considering the Tonto blade, the chisel grind, and just the weight feature there. It's just kind of set up for that. And you know, you can get buys using this as an EDC, but I wouldn't recommend it. Um, yeah, so my first experience with Emerson, at least with this knife, I do like it, but it is a pain in the butt to, you know, surpass the sharp jimping, the sticky liner lock, the overly aggressive G10, and you know, the fact that I may have to deal with using Loctite later on the screws. It's a lot of stuff you kind of got to think about before you buy into an Emerson, but if you can get past all that, really awesome knife. I really like it. And just some, you know, quick comparisons again. It's a little bit longer than the Tenacious. The military is obviously a lot longer. The military is a lot lighter than that of this knife. This thing is way heavier, I feel like, than this entire giant military. And the, you know, obviously the blade on the military is way longer. Yet the Emerson is way heavier. So, like I said, weight's kind of a con. But overall, good knife. I like it, and as of now, I'm gonna keep it, hold on to it. So that is my Emerson SOCFK. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Any questions, comments, you know, leave them in the comment section or shoot me a message. Alright guys, thanks so much. Take it easy.